Hey guys, it's Chris. Have you ever finished a drawing in Procreate and thought, it's lovely, it's great, but something just feels a little bit off, like it's not quite done? In this video, I'm going to show you some simple finishing touches that will take your artwork from flat and unfinished to polished and complete, using a teacup as our demo. These are small changes that really make a big difference. Just those last 10 minutes on a drawing is all it takes. So let's get into it. So a drawing can often look unfinished because it's missing contrast, shadows, texture, cleaned up edges maybe, and sometimes a little scene setting, that kind of thing. So let's have a look and see how we can make this drawing much more finished. One of my favorite things to do is use a canvas. Now they are provided in the Illustrator starter kit in the goodie bag there, so you can find them. So I've created this actually within a canvas. So you'll see here all these layers are what makes up the canvas. So if you turn it on, you'll see instantly that it gives it texture. And I just think that that is a really nice way to create something that has a little bit more grit and just looks more realistic. So that would be the first thing. Now, if you don't have texture or you don't have canvases or you're not using one for whatever reason, you can always go and add a little bit with painting as well. So if I'm just going to create a new layer, make a clipping mask, and I'm just going to select this color and maybe make it a little bit darker. And you can go and use things like the crackle background maybe, and I'm just going to bring this up way bigger so you can see instantly that just gives it a little bit of texture. And then you might want to change the blending mode and the opacity. And already that just gives it a little bit of something. So that's an option as well. For this demo, I am going to stick to my canvas here and we can carry on. I think that looks really nice. It gives it a lovely depth to the colors here as well. So next up, let's add a really simple shadow. So at the very bottom, I'm going to just create a new layer, bring it all the way to the bottom. Because right now our plate looks like it's floating, like it has no base. We want to anchor it somehow. So what I'm going to do is just grab a simple brown color here and get a brush. Maybe this variegated edge will be nice, and create a shadow. So I'm just going to create sort of like an oval shape, sort of. It's more of a line, but a rounded one. It's going to extend over here a little bit, more over here, because if our light source is coming here, there will be a shadow under here, but it's going to extend more this way. Then I'm going to go to the magic wand, Gaussian blur, and just slide my pens. You can see the percentage up here, just so it's nice and blurred out like that. Great. And then I'm going to just create a shadow that's darker right up close to it, just because that will really have it sit down. And I think we'll have to go back a little bit more like that. And then you can take your smudge tool and just soften those edges a little bit, keeping them rounded, and that will create a nice shadow. I think this is far too dark, so what the great thing is using layers is that we can just simply adjust the opacity by tapping on the end and bringing that down. Let's just have a look over here. Let's just see. Maybe something like that. Okay, maybe I'll just sort of go and give it a little bit. Oops. I'm just going to bring my brush size down a little bit. Just add a little bit there. Okay. Wonderful. Let me just a little smudge. Keep playing with it. Okay, that looks nice. So that just weights it down and makes it a little bit more part of the scene here. Next, we want to add highlights and shadows because right now our cup has no form. It's quite flat, sort of. It looks a little awkward. And the other part is you can see how this flower is just bleeding right into the background. So there's no contrast there. There is with these ribbons, which is lovely, but overall not enough with this picture. Okay, so let's start. I have the outside of my teacup here on a separate layer. So I can go ahead, create a new layer and make it a clipping mask. I'm just going to select this pink and just make it a little bit warmer, a little bit darker. And I'll go and grab the watercolor brush here. It's found in the Flower and Botanical Masterclass sample. And just get a nicer size here. actually quite a bit bigger. So again, our light source is here, so I'm going to shade more here. And now we have a little bit more contrast, which is nice. And I'm just going to do a little bit, just a touch on this ambient sort of edge here, just a little bit. And if you need to, take your smudge tool and just, you know, soften that up a little bit. So now that flower is actually popping up a lot more for us. Okay, continuing with the shadows, I'm going to go to the plate, create a new layer, make it a clipping mask. And you'll see it too needs a little bit of shadow here because that cup is sitting there. It would have a shadow over here again, making that flower pop a bit more. And it's just natural, you know, like sort of realistic what would actually be happening. Because this is curved, you can see how the lines show that this is curved, so it would have a bit of an indent in here as well. So I'm just gonna make sure, and shadows from the flowers, of course, too. All right, and that looks much better. So you can see what difference that makes. Let's just move that over here for you. Much better. Okay, now the inside of the cup is also going to need something as well. So I have the inside here. I'm going to create a new layer, make it a clipping mask. I think I'm going to go for, let's see, do I want it blue or do I want it sort of taupe? Let's just have a look. Yeah, maybe the blue would be nice because you have the purple here. So just a really dull blue and just have a rounded, trying to make sure you can see it. And then I'm going to blend that a little bit as well, just to make sure it's nice and soft. Okay, so now that cup starts to have some depth, like it goes in. All right, and we can also, with this smaller brush, we have a little bit of a shadow here as well on the edges of this, of the handle here. Okay. That's nice. Now I did miss this in the plate here. See how this is underneath? So I'm going to just create a new layer. It's become a clipping mask. I think I'll stick with the blue. So this is going to be darker underneath there as well, right? So that looks good. Okay, wonderful. Now we should move on to highlights. So with our, let's start with the cup. We'll create a new layer, make it a clipping mask. I'm going to change it to add and bring it to 20%. It's one of my favorite modes for highlights. Then I'm just going to grab a really nice sort of creamy yellow color. That's fine. I'm still on the watercolor brush. Again, that's fine. Just something nice and soft. And we can just, it's going to really be quite white, isn't it? Maybe we'll bring it, see if the yellow brings it a little bit warmer. I think it's just so light that it's not going to do that. So I'm just going to have a nice highlight here. I'm just going to use my smudge tool to maybe soften that, just play with that to see. Oh, that's nice. Perfect. Lovely. Okay, we'll do the same thing to the plate. Clipping mask. And I'll just do a little bit here. Oops, it's going yellow because I haven't changed it to add. And I'm going to bring down that opacity to about 20, 22. All right, see, that looks nice. Now the other parts that could have a little bit of a highlight are these edges here, this gold rim that we have. So I have this here. I'm just going to create a new layer, make it a clipping mask, change it to add, and maybe we'll just do a little, just a little highlight here. Oh, that's nice. See how that changes colors when you, depending on what color you use it on? Just sort of where it picks up here, I want it on like this little edge here. And that just really gives such a nice little touch to it. Maybe it's bounced back over here as well. Okay, that really makes a difference, a nice pop. I think our flowers need a little bit of a highlight as well. They're just all on one layer here, so we can just go ahead, create a clipping mask, go to add, make it a little less, and let's just maybe give that edge, again, making that stand out more from the cup. Just a few pops here. And that's nice. This ribbon already has a bit of a highlight, but we can give it a little bit more. All right, and that's looking really nice. Okay, so if I'm gonna zoom in, I can see that my edges aren't really that great. This is supposed to be a little bit more sketchy, which is fine, but I can see that I'm sort of missing something here. So I'm gonna go to my edge layer here, and I'm gonna attempt to select this color, and I'll go and get the brush that I used, which was the rough sketcher, and just make sure that I've gone around and clean up some of these little bits here, you know, any imperfections. But like I said, this is supposed to be pretty sketchy, so this brush is looking a little rough like that. Okay, anywhere else that I need to sort of finish up? So just going through, zooming in, make sure you haven't missed anything. It's just basic cleanup, right? Even when it's sketchy. So I don't like this area here, and that's actually to do with this solid fill here. So I could go there and just get my eraser, and I could just, you know, clean that up a little bit. Okay, just the picky little details. So that always helps a bit too. All right, little details. So the flowers, I think, just need to pop a little bit more. So what I'm gonna do on my add layer, actually, I can do that. Go to this light yellow, grab, let's do sketch and detail from the Flower and Botanical Masterclass, and just add a few. I'm just gonna make sure my brush is the right size. Yeah, I'm gonna have it around 8 or so, and just have a few like little details here. So I'm just doing these lines. Gonna create some more texture and interest into really this sort of the highlight of the, you know, what the focal point is here. Just little extra teeny details. I just find that, you know, the biggest difference, well, all these little tips is just a little, that extra 10 minutes really transforms a painting from something, you know, nice, but just, you know, you have that little bit more of a professional, finished, higher quality look if you just do the last 10 minutes. And it's just little bits like this sometimes that make all the difference. Okay, so again, I'm just going to show you that on and off. I mean, it's like turning the lights on. That's just such a lovely difference. So last but not least, I'm just going to show you a little finishing tip. This is sort of an extra, because sometimes, I mean, I'm actually really quite happy with this the way it is, but you can always play around a little bit more. So if I just go to the top here, I'm just going to go to, actually, I'm going to turn off my canvas and off the background. I'm going to go and to the wrench and do copy canvas. So I'm just copying this. Now if I'm at the very top, not above the canvas, this is fine. Just go and paste. So now I have everything on one layer, so you can see that. So everything just on one layer. So I'm just going to turn on my background color again and my canvas. And I had to do one layer because gradient map only works on the layer that is active. So I'm just going to go and do that. And then of course, if I change anything, I don't like it, I can always go back to my non-destructive, all my layers, and I can change things. All right, to gradient map. And you can see that we can change these, which looks quite crazy, but let's just try this one. It's always the one in the middle. And then I'm gonna bring back you can see the threshold here to way down. And it's just a way to play with these to see that's a much more antique look. But do you see how it sort of unites the colors, makes it look much more cohesive even? It kind of gives it a mood. I mean, that gives it a mood, that's for sure. Sometimes it's, you know, it looks good. Sometimes it's not great. But you can play with these because sometimes they just give you, yeah, like a different little mood that you may not have done otherwise. So let's just leave it on that one and see what we think. So I can turn back all of these on again. So here are the colors that we chose. And then here it is with the mood on. So you can kind of pick your favorites. This is interacting a little bit because you can see our shadows being doubled, but you can see that you can just make subtle color adjustments to make different moods happen. So here you can see the before and the after. Before, after. The thing to remember is that unfinished doesn't mean bad. It just sometimes your artwork is missing just maybe one or two little finishing touches. It doesn't have to be all of these. And like a little shadow, a little highlight, a little bit more contrast, just stepping back and seeing what else you can do. Just those last little teeny details sometimes just make all the difference. And that's how you take a drawing that feels almost done to give it that final polish that it was missing. To get the brushes used today, grab the free goodie bag linked below. It also includes my free Procreate for Beginners course that gives you a full overview of everything you need to know about Procreate. And if you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any tips and tricks and inspiration. And comment below what you'd like to see next. I'd love to hear from you. And if you want to keep improving your artwork, watch this next video here. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.